What's going on, ladies and DeGents? Welcome back to another episode of the Distinguished DeGents podcast, your one in many homes of degenerate gambling. I am one half of the Distinguished DeGents. I'm the guy on the left. My name is Steve Big Bucks Abeta. Joining me as always is the guy on the right, aka my co-host, aka my partner in gambling, aka 4 weeks in a row of profit, Jason Money Mansmann. Sir, how do you do on this fine Wednesday night, week 11 recap? Holy hell. What a week.
Picks haven't been perfect, but my betting has been I've had some very timely good bets. So I'll let you do.
Yeah, we had a very interesting outcome in our Caser bets for the contest that we lay out every week. If you guys want to join, make sure you check us out on the x.com/DeGents podcast. However, we tied, I wanted to say, on the money line, but the spread, I think I took an edge or vice versa. Tied on the spread, took one on the money line.
Correct. Yeah. I forgot which one offhand. It might have actually been a tie on the spread this time, and you might have won the money line. So it's 12-10. It's now 12-10.
Yikes.
You're up by.
God, going into week 12.
Still plenty of time left, though. It's close. No one's.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless I get a 6-game advantage, especially this late in the season, it's anyone's Caser still. So we are very much live on the Caser bet, where the winner at the end of the year between the two contests will get a free case of beer on the other host. So we had a lot of action going on in week 11. We already went over the Thursday night football match. We had a couple non-conference spots. We had a couple division hate weeks. I think I said it was pros versus Joes 2 last week, but I'm pretty sure I said it was hate week 2. So last week was hate week 2. A lot of big games. Your Chiefs and Bills being a big one. Ravens Steelers was a big match. That ended up coming down to the wire. We also had Seattle, San Francisco. Another one come down to the wire. The battle for Texas. And Green Bay, Chicago, which was a double best bet of ours. So, I mean, out of the games for hate week 2, which one would you say shocked you the most? Or which one did not go the way that we had anticipated or expected?
Niners Seahawks. Definitely. Seattle has not had success against the Niners, and I pretty much wrote Seattle off for dead. And the fact that they won that game in the manner that they did, and now there's some talk, some rumblings that like Kyle Shanahan might be on the hot seat. That was everything about that game, and what has come out of it is a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah, the ending too. Kyle Shanahan's defense definitely can no longer be trusted, especially after the end of that game. And in a spot where I thought it was essentially a must-win for the Niners just to maintain some sort of dominance in that division that was still highly suspect, truth be told, and still honestly anyone's division, but you know, we're talking about how last year this was an undefeated team at home. Now that I'm pretty sure they've lost 3 of their last 4 at home. Even with Christian McCaffrey, it just seems like it looks like the exact same offense we were used to without him. Less efficient, actually, more than anything. But for me, I think the bigger shock out of hate week, God, I really wish I could say Denver. The bigger shock for me, which I think we can get into later, your Bills. Just the way they dominated from the jump. I thought it would be another back and forth, which really it was. I thought we were going to get the cover, and it didn't come through. But the way that like the Bills had dominated on one end of the, especially mainly on defense, even though I think they gave up 3 touchdowns, just a pick off the first drive. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, even with the interception. It just, obviously we get into it, but what just shocked me was like, it seemed like the whole game, it was Bills football. It was their game. They were in control. The Chiefs were playing from behind. And it was just Buffalo's, like, and we've seen it before. It was Buffalo's game to lose. How are they going to blow it? We knew Mahomes was going to get the ball back, and it just never happened. It was just like they maintained composure. It's like they've been in. You ever been in a spot so many times where you lose against a computer and you just keep replaying it, and eventually you figure it out, and eventually you move? It felt like that kind of moment with Mahomes and Allen. It just felt like they learned it.
Here's why your take is wrong. 4 straight. It's the 4th straight time in the regular season the Bills have beat the Chiefs. I'm telling you, it's just the Bills get up for these games. And especially this one, I thought this was, out of the 4, the most predictable. The Bills had beaten them 3 times in a row in the regular season. The Chiefs have been undefeated, winning a lot of close, sketchy games. They were coming off that last-second win against the Broncos, a game they really had no business winning. They should have lost. It just seemed like the perfect storm in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Everything was headed towards the Bills' victory. And, yeah, I told you a storm was coming. I told you the Chiefs were picking up that L, and sure enough, I was right. You should know better. You bet the Chiefs every time in this spot. And
I do. I really, really do. And then in the playoffs, what do? I pick the Bills, and then So
I can't take another look.
God, yeah, that was just but I think it was just the manner in that it happened. I mean, the way we've seen it before, really, it was more of like the Bills finally get the stop. The Bills drive, they get the score. But they have to stop Mahomes in 30. And in the regular season, they do it. But in the playoffs, for some reason. This time, on the other hand, this was basically in Josh Allen's hands. And not one time did he really falter. Not one time did you really think, especially during that 2-minute drive, you were like, God, are the Bills really going to, like, kick the 3 and then lose by a point? Like, is this just how we've seen this before?
Yeah,
and you just never got... This game, you never got that feeling especially during the, like, I knew I was during that time. I was like, Bills are gonna do it. Like, I can just tell. Should have cashed out, but that's neither here nor there.
They're not turning the ball over. I mean, the numbers are pretty stark. Josh Allen, if he holds on to the football and limits the turnovers, the Bills are great. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. I declared their season over in October.
You did.
Since then, they've basically won every game. No, not basically. They have won every game since I declared their season over. So we'll see. I'm not ready to declare the season back on yet. The season's
fair enough.
Over. But yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we still got I think at least 13 more games we got to recap and get through, if not another 12 or so. But either way, let's go through these slates. We'll end the episode. We'll give our Pittsburgh-Cleveland handicap for Thursday Night Football coming up. Very interesting weather game for the first time, by the way, so just get ready for that nonsense. But kicking off Week 11 was the Detroit Lions scoring 52 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who put up a measly 6. Mac Jones, 17 for 29, only 138 yards and a pick. They head into the bye with this loss. Jared Goff went 24 for 29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, perfect passer rating. We even saw a debut of one Hendon Hooker, who got 37 yards off 3 throws. Montgomery, 2 touchdowns. Gibbs got 1. Monra got 2. Jameson got 1. Brock Wright got 1. I mean, everybody's getting touchdowns. It's another Oprah Winfrey episode. Did we call this game or what? Why was this not our double best bet? I really looking back.
Remember literally the over-under. Pick the over. I could see this being a Detroit 50 burger, and sure enough, there it was. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I think Detroit, rightfully so now, is being viewed as the best team in football. I think you can make the argument they've been the most complete team.
Can't argue with it. Jacksonville, I mean, forget the hot seat. Doug Peterson, do you think they fire him during the bye, or are they gonna, or is Khan gonna let him finish the season? What do you do?
I've read that Khan doesn't want to make a change. This is the literal Walking Dead. Peterson is coach in name only. He's done. Look, if they didn't fire him he's not getting fired. They're just gonna continue to roll out. They're probably gonna try and tank. I don't know why. They have a quarterback that they paid a lot of money to.
Tank for Trevor. Oh wait.
Maybe they're gonna try and trade him. Our boys at Let's Talk Jets want Trevor Lawrence to be a Jet.
I can't believe. Oh, we're gonna get to the Jets. Don't worry. If you thought the Jags are having a bad week, you should listen to the Jets fans, especially Let's Talk Jets Radio. They were literally going to recap the game and do a viewer call-in, but then they had to talk about how their GM literally gets fired, like, right before the bye week. What a shit. They may be the most dysfunctional organization now. Like, I didn't want to put them there.
Jacksonville's there. Carolina won a couple games. It's amazing when you get a couple wins. Now all of a sudden Carolina, they're not that horrible. Yeah.
No, they're horrible.
They're gonna have to clean house.
Yeah, that's really all you can say about that one, truth be told. Not much else to really harp on. I think we got a lot to harp on in this next one, though. Green Bay 20, Chicago Bears 19. Still have not beaten the Green Bay Packers with Matt Eberflus. No fault of Caleb Williams, surprisingly. Caleb 23 for 31, 231 yards. No touchdowns through the air. DeAndre Swift got one on the ground. Cairo Santos, 2 field goals. Look, I think everyone has been like, oh my God, the Bears can't beat the Packers. It was just a witchy situation. The Packers were the wrong side. It was a double best bet. I'm just going to say a disgusting amount of units on them because I ladder bet them on the spread as it went down. Didn't do it. I did do it, but I didn't hit any of them whatsoever. So all those units, bye-bye. The Bears were the right side, and that's what pains me to say. Just a witchy loss, and I almost feel bad. But on the other hand, I think we could say we were right about Caleb Williams. The guy's a bust. And I don't think Matt Eberflus is going to fix him. I don't know if a new head coach is going to come in and be able to fix him. And I know it's a little premature to say he's a bust. It's only been 12 weeks of football, but the Bears just, keep getting quarterbacks that do less and less on the field somehow, it seems to me. Statistically speaking, Fields would have at least gotten one on his feet and ran one in. Maybe it would have made the difference, it seems like. But it's just these rookie quarterbacks, they don't know how to develop them. The Bears, they are spiraling out of control. This was not a loss you could take.
Here's what I'd say. You look at guys like C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels. They look like guys that have the potential to be elite quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, to me, his ceiling, tell me if you agree with this. His ceiling, if he gets better, Baker Mayfield. He looks to me like a Baker Mayfield type. Maybe top half of the league if he gets better. If not, he's going to be a very mediocre starting quarterback to future backup potential. I think there are times where he has the ability, but he's clearly not there. To me, this is more, speaking of guys who are mediocre, Jordan Love's a bum. They paid him all that money. He's no fucking good. You know what he reminds me of? They discount Patrick Mahomes. No, that's not a good point.
No.
Discount Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's a fair.
He just looks to me like a Dak Prescott, just a freaking I don't know, man. He's just like not good. I can't believe Green Bay keeps winning games. They should have lost. I'm so sick of betting them, and I bet them every week, and they never cover. But I keep winning because I have Green Bay money line because I bet Green Bay money line every week. I hate this team.
Here's what I'll say in terms of I 100% agree with you on your Jordan Love comparison, especially with the turnovers. In terms of Caleb Williams, I would honestly say he's more of like I don't even know if discounts the word. He reminds me of Geno Smith, but like the bad side of Geno Smith.
Yeah, that could be. He could either go to Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith. I
wouldn't even give it to Baker because Baker, I think, just the problem is with Baker, he airs it out to the point where if he fucks up, he doesn't deviate. He just keeps going. Caleb Williams, if he deviates, is overanalyzation and then gets sacked, or tries to run and play hero ball and get sacked, or tries to throw the deep ball and get 20 yards of play and throws it incomplete. With Geno, like, he reminds me of a young Geno who, like, I think was just trying to do too much, was trying to do it all on his feet, trying to do it on his own, doesn't think he has the weapons, even though he clearly does, and just needs the time to develop, but needs, like, to develop away from the bad organization that he's stuck in. Like, Geno, after all these years, went to Seattle, and look at what we're talking about night and day. I think Caleb needs that kind of transition.
Half quarterback. I don't know. I don't see Caleb Williams becoming anything that great.
Not with the Bears. That's my opinion. Not with the Bears. I think under a different system, maybe he becomes something better. I think his ceiling is like Geno with the Seahawks. But in terms of the game and like betting with the Packers, I mean, I thought it was weird. You paid all this quarterback money to Jordan Love, and he threw the ball 17 times. 261 yards and a touchdown. Now, mind you, the floater that ended up being intercepted, I think it was the third drive. Pretty bad throw. But it just seemed like ever since he did that, they just went to the run. And I'm like, and we even said, why are they going to run the ball against like one of the top rush defenses? They're going to get nowhere, and that's exactly what happened. They basically pounded the rock. They were clearly succeeding in the air. They just kind of kept trying to deviate back to the run out of fear of the turnovers, maybe? I don't know.
It's because Bozo sailed, one of the top 5 worst throws of the – I don't know. Jordan Love, to me, he had one good half a season, and this year his basically – to me, Jordan Love is indicative of the Packers, and I don't know why they keep winning. Like, their defense is mediocre. Their offense, passing-wise, mediocre. Run game, okay, Josh Jacobs has been a little better than I thought. But, like, they just feel like a team that's mediocre, and they win, like, every coin flip game they seem to win. To me,
they win but don't cover.
I think the Packers are a massive fade team in the playoffs, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean,
they
didn't even have time to possession.
I hope the Packers get to be second in the division. They pass Minnesota because next year when they have that second place schedule, I want to fade the shit out of Green Bay because this is not sustainable what they're doing.
I mean, yeah, now they're 2.5 point favorites against San Francisco.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm just like, I can't even get them at 5.5. Every time I bet 2.5, 3.5, they don't cover. And I'm like, we're really gonna lay points again. I don't know if I can get there, but that'll be enough. That'll be it.
They're gonna take all the money too. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on a Friday when we go through our Week 12 games. But moving on, the LA Rams 28, New England Patriots 22. Do you think the Patriots have their quarterback now? Drake May, 29 for 39, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Late 2-minute drill, threw the late pick to the Rams to end the game, but had the chance to pull off the upset.
I think he got a chance. He's looking solid. The Patriots are not good. I mean, if you remember that London game, they got no receivers. There's not a lot there, but you got to you're seeing some positive things, and that is promising. And that's all you're really looking for a rookie. You're looking for some positive signs, and now it's going to be whether he develops. But they got a chance. I'm not ready to anoint. I know Mac Jones had a few moments his first year. I think Drake May definitely looks better than Mac Jones. But yeah, I think the Patriots got a chance, and the Rams, what else can you say? This is what mediocre teams do. They win the games they're supposed to. It's not pretty. The Rams look like a 5-5 team should. That's what they are.
The Rams offense is back. I'll say that. 123 yards for Puka Nacua, a touchdown, 2 touchdowns of Cooper Hawk. Matt Stafford had 4 touchdowns in this game, no turnovers, and this was like a typical Rams Matty Stafford type game. The Rams defense, on the other hand, that is like the kryptonite to this team. They just let anyone and everybody walk all over this defense. I mean, they made Drake May look good. They made Tua Tagovailoa look good on Monday Night Football. I don't know, in terms of bottom 5 defenses, the Rams are there with the Bengals. The Ravens, truth be told, they're pretty bad this year too. The Panthers defense is pretty horrendous. They're not that good.
Defense is terrible.
Yeah. Bucks defense. They're just bottom 5 in my power rankings right now in terms of defense. But I think the Rams, they're now a team where you have to look at their opponent and all you can really ask is, can they outscore them? If the answer is yes, you could probably bet on them. But if you don't think they're going to outscore them, probably not worth the bet. Just moving on, because that's this team. They're going to get the points on the board. They're just not going to be able to stop the other side, it seems. It's just, can they do more? It's the same problem that the Bengals have. They can score. They can move the ball down the field and get the points. Their defense isn't going to stop a nosebleed, though. It's just, can they do enough on offense and maintain time of possession? This week they did.
Yeah. Fair. Oh, okay. What do we got next?
What do we have next? Oh, God. Here we go. Cleveland Browns. The Sharps' ever-living darling. With the Jameis Winston.
This is what happens. Back to Sharps. Get caught.
Yep. 14-35. I picked the Saints. You were on the Brownies. This was the key difference in our money line game. The Saints. My, oh, my. Derek Carr has now won 2 in a row with a new interim head coach. How bad does Dennis Allen have to be now? Look at the night and day difference between these two Saints teams with him and now without him. Or is this just kind of a fluky Browns game situation? The Browns just suck.
I don't really know how the Browns, so weird. They shanked a couple field goals, which didn't help. And, God, this is such a weird game because it felt like a really close game. And then at the end, it just got ugly. Yeah, Browns are just really bad. Jameis had 400 passing yards and they scored 14 points. I don't really understand it. And the Saints, they're playing for Coach Riz. And now you start to think, interim coach won 2 in a row. You wonder is this going to be another Antonio Pierce situation? Not that that's been working very well in Vegas. But I just wonder, could Coach Riz coach himself into a job?
Oh, is it Riz or Rizzy?
I think the nickname. I thought the nickname they were calling him Coach Riz.
It might be Coach Riz, which it's even better.
I think it is.
Yeah, we'll see how they end the season. That's my opinion. If they win out, how do you not hire the guy? But let's see what they do in the.
By the way, welcome back.
Oh yeah, Taysom Hill, 3 touchdowns for him. Unfortunately, I don't have him in fantasy. Yeah, but you're 100% right. This was a close game going into the fourth, and then literally Taysom Hill just showed up and was like, give me the ball. Derek Carr, you suck. You can't do shit. Which really was my answer to this. Derek Carr's not back. Derek Carr just still does Derek Carr things, moves the ball down the field, gets his completions, gets the yards. Did have 2 touchdowns, so I mean, but that's a ceiling. They did not win this because of Derek Carr. We're saying, like, let's be honest, Taysom Hill is the reason they won this game. And he's not even the quarterback.
Yeah.
4 tight ends.
Rush, 3 touchdowns. Jesus.
Yeah, it's insane. Brownies have a Thursday Night Football spot. That was my big concern with that handicap, too. I was like, Browns got the Thursday Night Football look ahead. You know that's like my go-to handicap in those games. I'm like, if anybody has a Thursday Night look ahead, I'm probably looking to fade them, unless there's a reason not to. So that was a concern, and I think the Saints next week are on the bye, or do they have a team they're going up against? I thought they did.
Bye.
No, they're on the bye. So yeah, good week for them. 2 in a row, they're going to the bye. We'll see them in week 13, post-Thanksgiving. Yeah, looking forward to that, I guess. It's gonna be something. But speaking of something, Minnesota 23, Tennessee 13. We really didn't see much of this game. I mean, we had other interests in mind. This one was kind of on the back burner. A lot of people are kind of saying that, like, Will Levis might be the worst quarterback in the league now. The Titans are done. I mean, they are. They're 2-8. They're the worst ATS team on the year. I thought they had a good defense, supposedly. And Will Levis, admittedly, like, even on the back. What was that?
Even the Sharps have abandoned Tennessee.
Yeah. Will Levis, 17 for 31, 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 very late interception to keep Money Mansmann's Will Levis prop alive and well. So, congratulations for that, buddy. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, 246 yards, 20 for 32. Yeah, this was another one that, like, I thought was going to be close because it was 23-13 early in the fourth, and I was like, maybe Will Levis will, like, do a drive and this will end by 3. It could be, and just, like, nothing happened. It was just, like, probably one of the shit games of the week, in my opinion. Like, it was just not a good game overall, really, on either side of the ball. But I didn't know if you had caught any insights or had anything you wanted to add to it.
No, it's how the Vikings are normally going to win games. They want to do just enough on offense, win with defense. And look, Minnesota, say what you will about Sam Darnold. These are the types of games that at least Sam has shown this year that he's going to be able to, win. He did lose a fumble, but other than that, clean game, 246, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to see his quarterback rating, 65.4 ESPN QB. Like, that's all. They're looking for him to be an average quarterback, do just enough. Titans suck. Discount Josh, the gift that keeps giving. And they play at Houston next week, so it could be another Will Levis interception week. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. No comment. No, I have no comment on that game. I have no comment on the look ahead. Minnesota. Who do they have next? Are they another team on? God, there's so many teams on bye next week. Like, it's hard
teams,
to.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams.
No, they go to Chicago next week on their 3rd road game in a row. Is that right? It sure shit is.
Oh boy.
Three road games in a row for Minnesota. Jacksonville.
Brutal loss, Minnesota. 3rd straight road game. Oh boy. This could be early fade of the week, early dog of the week contention.
It's up in there. All right, here we go. Next up, it's the ghost of Aaron Rodgers and the New Jersey Jetropolitans. I don't know how this even happened. We watched it. We saw it in real time.
Why did we bet the Jets? What were we doing?
I didn't bet the Jets. I don't know what you're talking. I didn't bet it.
Oh no, I mean we picked the Jets.
I picked the Jets. Yeah, I didn't bet it. Because again, remember when I said if I ever bet the Jets again, you need to kick me in the dick. I didn't want to get kicked in the dick in this game, and sure as shit, like Anthony Richardson remembered how to be a quarterback. The Jets couldn't stop a fucking pass to save their life. Josh Downs, touchdown, 84 yards. Alec Pierce, 74 yards. Michael Pittman Jr., 46. Yeah, Anthony Richardson went 20 for 30, no interceptions.
75.4 QBR.
That's got to be his highest all year, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's pretty up there. Oh, by the way, 83% chance the Jets were at one point to win the game. That was at the beginning of the fourth quarter. 80%.
Oh, yeah. 24-16. They blew an 8-point lead.
And somehow the Jets, some way, the New York Jets found a way to blow another lead. Oh, they're bad.
The Colts were down. The Colts were up 13-0. The Jets came back and had, it looks like, I want to be sure, because they were 13-0 and then 14 unanswered to take the lead. It kind of went back and forth, and yeah, they had an 8-point. So, yeah, Colts defense is bad, but evidently not as bad as the Jets. They are a dumpster fire of an organization. I think I sent you three news press conferences for that week. One was from Let's Talk Jets Radio. Why be a fan of the New York Jets at this point? Which, oh, by the way, even when I don't bet on the game for the Jets, I still won money because my futures tickets came in. Jets under 9.5 win total comes through. Week 11. It is week 11. And my team total bet hit. Houston, we have a problem. New York, kill yourself. Not really, but like, come on. Like, I thought that was bad. And then they fired Joe Douglas in the fucking bye week. What's the bigger L? Even on the bye week, the Jets take an L. I mean, what? Like, how bad is this organization?
To go to England, can we make him permanent ambassador? Permanent ambassador to England, bro. And then there's talk that Woody Johnson suggested benching Aaron Rodgers like week 5. What are we? The Jets are a disaster. They need to
benching Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's talk about that real quick. Benching Aaron Rodgers when you're the New York Jets. Your backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. Okay. Realistically, how does Tyrod Taylor give you any more of a chance to win than Aaron Rodgers?
Honestly, he might, because Aaron Rodgers is just cooked. Like, he's terrible. Here's the only thing, though, what I really think it's going to come down to. If you owe Aaron Rodgers money if he gets hurt, you just do like the Giants are going to do. We're not going to get to them today because they were on the bye. You literally just bench Aaron Rodgers. You make him your third string. You send him to a ayahuasca retreat. He joins the Trump administration. Robert Kennedy Jr. hires him for Health and Human Services or something. Like, you just going to get hurt if he's going to get hurt.
But I don't even want to discuss the RFK Jr. thing right now.
No, I'm just saying, like, you literally send him Send him to Alaska on a frost retreat. He could visit Cairo again, which...
How about we put him in a submersible to go see the Titanic?
No, that's too soon. That's too soon. But you know what I mean? You send them somewhere. Like you send them on a ayahuasca retreat, a darkness retreat. I don't know. You send them somewhere, anywhere but the Jets. Because otherwise, if he gets hurt, you're going to be stuck with him. And they're talking about him coming back next year. Like, what? Why? Like, bro, retire. Aaron.
Yeah, retire or move on. You got to go. You got to go.
Be a permanent fixture on the McAfee show. Like, retire. It's over. It's done. It's the Jets. What did you expect? Just end it. Just end it, buddy.
All right, we'll move on. What is the next game in the Week 11 recap for us at the Distinguished DeGents? Not much here. The Las Vegas Raiders versus the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins were a 7-point favorite. A lot of sharps had a tough time with this one for some reason. I don't think we did. I'm pretty sure I went with Miami. I said the Raiders were on auto fade at this point, or should be. 34-19 was the final. Raiders cleaned house on the offensive line. Here's the good news. Gardner Minshew, threw the ball more. They still forgot how to utilize the rushing attack. Because their lead rusher in this game was Jacoby Myers. One single rush for 20 yards. That's the new Raiders offense.
It's crazy because here's what I'll say. There were two teams that got rid of their star running backs, the Raiders and the Giants. Giants at least have a little bit of a run game. The Raiders' run game has been nothing all year. My Zamir White pick was probably the worst decision I've ever made in the history of fantasy and futures betting. I'm terrible.
Here's what I'll say about those two teams that got rid of their running backs. The Raiders at least didn't pay Gardner Minshew a shit ton of money to compensate for that loss, to justify it, if you can even call it that. I think Mark Davis is just cheap. I really think he's a cheapo loser. Doesn't want to pay anyone, but doesn't want to commit to a rebuild either. I think he just would rather... He'd rather be a 500 team with Tom Brady as an executive and just live off Vegas money for a while. I think he has no hopes of winning a Super Bowl. I don't think he really cares about the growth of the organization. I think he's just resting on his name, and he's resting on the Raiders as a franchise and nothing else. The Giants, on the other hand, what I will say is they made a mistake. They rode with that mistake until that mistake became too much. And now they're trying to deviate and correct from that, which we'll get to shortly. But for what it's worth, yeah, they got rid of Saquon, but they were in a bad situation. The Raiders had no excuse. They could have kept Josh Jacobs. They just chose not to.
Yeah, and they should have. Teams different, and you just see, Gardner Minshew is just, he can't win in a situation like that. The Raiders' defense isn't good enough to sustain them. Game was a little closer. Miami got a lucky touchdown, a late touchdown at the end to get the cover. But there was at no point in the game where you felt like the Raiders were going to win. So, yeah, the Raiders.
Yeah, I guess not.
I'm wondering if Antonio Pierce survives.
No.
It's tough for me because I don't know if it's all his fault. I mean, they can't run the ball. They've been in a few close games. I just think they need a quarterback. Denver Broncos trading up ahead of the Raiders to get Bo Nix. That is a franchise-altering decision, I feel like. Because the Raiders are just putrid. And Denver, we're going to get to them.
We're going to get to Denver for sure. Raiders, look, in terms of Antonio Pierce in the hot seat, I think if you're Antonio Pierce, you've already filed for bankruptcy because of some car dealership nonsense. You've gotten yourself into some hot mess. you have to make an argument to Mark Davis why you need to stay. And it better be a good one. But I really only think the only answer you have is like, look, we tried it your way. It didn't work. Gardner Minshew is shit. The only person who wants to stay is our DE, who we can, we can get fucking God knows what for Max Crosby. But I don't think he wants to be traded. So it's one of those things you have to commit where it's like you go to Max and say, like, look, here's where we're at. What's more important? You really want to be a Raider? You're going to deal with some shit for the rest of your career. And you're not going to get as much money. But if you want the money, go somewhere else. Or we're going to trade you and get what we can get because we need to rebuild because we have nobody. We suck. You have to own that.
All I'm going to say, last point, I'm so curious to see if they started Aiden O'Connell to begin the year, if they'd be slightly better. Gardner Minshew's just a turnover factory. Can't win with it.
I don't think so. I think they lose by more. I think they're still a 2-8 team. I just think they lose by more. Because the difference is Gardner Minshew can move the ball. He can get teams. He can get the Raiders in scoring position. The turnover factor is just what's been a killer. If he doesn't turn the ball over as much, I think we have closer games. I don't know if he wins per se. And especially in this one where Tua threw for 3 touchdowns, Devon Achane ran in for 1. It was just a game where Miami just kind of did more. It didn't really seem like a game.
Miami feels like they're going to be dangerous. That's Denver's biggest competition for the playoffs. And I think you guys play Miami too. That could be fun. Yeah, Miami's starting to look dangerous. Tua's back. They're starting to find it again.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Miami next week. Let me see who they're hosting New England. So that's going to be a real test for me.
Yeah, they got to find a way to win that game. If you're serious, you got to win that game. At home, got to win it.
You got to win. You got to blow them out too, in my opinion. You can't just it can't be no witching hour bullshit like that the Dolphins are used to with beating Tom Brady. Like, this has to be like Dolphins blowout, Tyreek gets 100 yards, which he hasn't done since he's gotten arrested, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, last 1 o'clock game. Then we got the 4 o'clock recap where we can hyperspeed it, or whatever. Baltimore 16, Pittsburgh 18. Ugly defensive game. God, this was our double dog of the week. God, if we didn't hit this hit this nail on the fucking head. Ugly performance by Lamar. Ugly performance by Russell Wilson. Defense kept this under totally alive and no sweat whatsoever. So I had 3 bets on this game. We had Steelers money line. I hit that. I had Steelers +3. Hit that. And I had Steelers under. I had Steelers under. Hit that. So I hit 4 bets because then I parlayed the 2. Steelers with the 3 and the under at 2.5 to 1. So this was half the reason why I broke even last week. But really big letdown spot for the Ravens. Russell Wilson, welcome back to earth. That's my takeaway from this. Russell Wilson did not light it up like he has been in the last few weeks. He has regressed into Mr. Unlimited in Denver. He looked like the Denver Broncos quarterback in this game. And the Ravens defense is no good. They're not that good. Baker Mayfield went yard on this team.
I will remind you, AFC North rivalry. This is what these teams do. They play 2-point games that go under. But by the way, over/under 48.5. Really? Come on. That was like the stupidest fucking line of the week. Like
the only reason that was so bad was
you were watching that game. Were you afraid at any minute that game wasn't gonna be a victory for us?
No.
It literally, you could tell these 2 teams, they were kicking field goals and it was gonna be like a 1-point game.
Well, one team was kicking field goals. That one team had Chris Boswell in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another team was trying to kick field goals. His name is Justin Tucker from the Baltimore Ravens. He used to be the best field goal kicker of all time. And that was back in like 2012 when they won a Super Bowl. But since then, I mean that's not fair. Really, it's been this year. It's been bad.
I gotta say, I would be very concerned if I was the Baltimore Ravens, because where they're looking at now, you're looking at potentially, and honestly, going to Buffalo, I feel like would be a lot worse. Because Buffalo, well, we're going to get to Buffalo in a minute, but the Ravens are a couple losses away from potentially like playing in Buffalo or in Pittsburgh first round of the playoffs. The Ravens look like a team that has peaked early and is not trending in the right direction.
No.
I mean, they struggled against Cincinnati, lost to Pittsburgh. They, I don't know, man. The Ravens look like a team that is peaked early. They have 3 of their last 4 games, not great, to be quite honest with you. Right.
The defense was horrendously bad. No, the over-under, like I think I said, like it made sense if you really look at the two teams. Steelers were overproducing on offense. The Ravens were underperforming on defense, and they were giving up points left and right. So the high total made sense, but I will give you credit. You talked me off of the anger rant. It's an AFC North rivalry game. This is just what happens. There's a reason they develop flowcharts. There's a reason history bias is a thing. This is why. Literally, like, if you just look at the history of this rivalry, you go, oh yeah, these teams are not going to score. It's going to be close. And it's going to be a dead, full, boring game. And what did we get? We got 3 points. We got a total of 48. Easiest 2 bets I ever made, in all honesty.
These games are always the same. It's crazy. They always play these ugly, disgusting games.
Yeah. By the way, Deontay Johnson, former Steeler, did absolutely nothing. Just wanted to throw that out there. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, Russell Wilson, ugly interception.
Other weapons? When they asked about Deontay Johnson, well, we're going to worry about their other weapons.
That was good. That was good. All right, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, maybe rapid fire, maybe not. Probably not. Seattle 20, San Francisco 17. We kind of mentioned this earlier. Shanahan might be on the hot seat. What an upsetting loss for San Francisco at home as 5.5-point favorites. The flowchart has been busted on this one. The flowcharts have been busted a lot this year, but San Francisco, what a complete 180 flip from last year. They are definitely suffering from the Super Bowl hangover more than I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you could say that. I don't know. I just don't think they don't seem to be as good. Losing some really weird games. I don't know what's wrong with them. I think you see Christian McCaffrey was all world last year, and they're a team where it feels like, I'm trying to remember what team. They're very similar to, oh God, who was the team?
What year?
I'm trying to remember. There was a specific team this year that is the very same, where they were, oh God, I can't remember it. Maybe I'll think of it before the end of the show. But yeah, they're a team where it was like Christian McCaffrey was basically sort of carrying this team, playing all world. And now with him being injured and out, they just are missing that. And
is it Philly or Cincy?
I don't remember. I really got
That's okay.
Got to think. Let's just say, though, one other point on this. Ginormo game. Seattle Seahawks. Arizona Cardinals. Strap in. That's a huge game.
That might be game of the week.
Dallas. It was Dallas. Bad defense, no running game. Dak Prescott basically playing out of his mind. He regresses back to earth. The team disappears. That's kind of like San Francisco feels very similar. San Fran, Purdy playing above his level. McCaffrey playing like an MVP. This year, not the same.
Yeah, I mean, you need not playoff. You need MVP Christian McCaffrey. You need Brock Purdy playing essentially what amounts to a perfect game for this Niners team to be successful, which it's a bit unfortunate. I know the injury news has been like an excuse they've been riding all year, but a lot of their guys are healthy now. I think Nick Bosa did come out of this game, but you held Seattle to 13. You should have blown the brakes off of them to like 30-13. And their offense has just been a total no-show. And, like, it's weird. Like, there's just so many different excuses coming out of San Francisco, it seems like, where, oh, well, our defense is injured and we're not performing as expectations. We have backups in. It's like, well, this is your professional goddamn organization. Step up. Next man up. That's been the Shanahan motto from, like, the Denver days. Next man up. Get ready. Oh, well, we don't have any wide receivers. They're all injured. Brock's won with... You literally won with a nobody at quarterback. You literally won with Mr. Irrelevant and went to one Super Bowl now with him. That shouldn't be an excuse. Oh, well, we didn't have Christian McCaffrey and you got him back and you put up a measly 17. That's just not... At what point can you just say, as the San Francisco 49ers, your team is just not performing to expectations? I'm not saying you have to blow out every team. This seems like a game the Niners should have won hand over fist, and they just didn't. Like Brock Purdy, 21 for 28, but 159 yards. That's not going to win you games. If Christian McCaffrey's only going to get 79 yards off of 20 carries, maybe mix back in... I was going to say Elijah Mitchell, but I don't think he's no longer there. Mix in Jordan Mason a little bit more. Mix in some of those trick plays. It just seems like the Niners are all over the place. They're so unpredictable. And in a division where like you should have...
You're kind of like the anti-Chiefs, where they're just like finding ways to lose games.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it. Super Bowl hangover.
Actually, a better year than I thought. He's 6th in ESPN QBR, which
he did fine, but the problem was it's just not. Normally, the Niners just do so much that the teams can't keep up. Now they're just not doing. They're not doing enough to win games, and that's been like that's the problem with Shanahan that I think in the offseason you have to address. How do you take who you have and do more with it? Because it's just like like they stopped doing the trick plays. They're trying to make Brock Purdy like I think someone he's not. I don't know. Like there's just so many questions I have about this Niners team. Seattle, it's like we know who they are. They are who we thought they were. Geno had a very underwhelming performance, but ran in the game-winning touchdown. So that's all we're going to talk about is Geno ran in the game-winning touchdown. The Niners suck. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Denver Broncos at home sweeps the NFC South. According to the social media, Denver has already hung up the NFC South Championship banner. We have swept all 4 teams. If you could believe it. What was the final score? I know Atlanta scored 6, Denver 38. Bo Nix with the fucking perfect game. I don't know what more to say. Bo Nix had a perfect game. That's the takeaway. 28 for 33, 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Javonte Williams literally stopped running, and his O-line carried him into the end zone. I mean, if you're an Atlanta fan, I would be embarrassed.
I told you it was a perfect spot for.
Oh yeah,
back-to-back spot. Denver coming off a killer loss.
Welcome back, Denver's defense too. By the way, that was that was a beautiful performance on the defensive side of the ball too. I mean, 4 sacks, got a pick, kept the time of possession pretty medium. I mean, they only held the Falcons to 13 first downs. And honestly, like, I don't know if it was the fucking double dogs we were drinking or what. We completely missed the debut of Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, we definitely, I think because what it was, by that point, Denver was ahead so much and the Bills game was close. I think we kind of turned our focus to the Bills game.
Oh, yeah, no, that's makes a lot more sense.
I think that's what happened. But yeah, no, I told you Denver was going to do well. I'm kicking myself for not holding on to that fucking Bo Nix ticket longer.
Oh, yeah, what?
Jaden Daniels it's because Jaden Daniels got off to such a big lead. Being the number 2 pick, I was like, no matter what Bo Nix does, even if he does better, I think it's going to be too big of a hole to climb out of just because Jaden Daniels was the number 2 pick. The Commanders are good. They're going to make the playoffs. It's like, when in doubt, I think Daniels is going to get it. But now Bo Nix is like 300, and I'm just like, oh, fuck me. What's the cash out? Do you know?
Not at the top of my head. It's
you gotta let me know on the Friday what the cash out is, so I could fucking.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to. I just because I got it, I think at 18-1.
Yeah, because Uncle Mo is coming on Bo Nix,
and now it's 3-1. And I was gonna say, if everybody's on it. That's the problem. Like, I feel like it's 3-1, but Bo Nix is like another bad loss away. So, like, today would be a good day to cash out on it. But honestly, like, would I go running to the book to bet Bo Nix? No, I'd probably wait another week. I would see if Jaden Daniels especially loses another week and goes into Thanksgiving against Dallas, and I could get if I could get it even money. Or
the Giants too.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I mean, if they somehow lose to Dallas, I think you could get Jaden Daniels even money, and I may just re-hit that and try to hedge. But we'll see.
Jaden Daniels have 5 touchdowns this week.
That might be the play too. I may ladder bet touchdown passes. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, not much really to say with Atlanta, Denver. Atlanta completely just underperformed, which you know what that means, by the way. They underperformed the spread by over 20. They are in the bye, but week 13 is going to be an interesting look-ahead spot. We'll see how much healthier they get to. But all right, it's time.
Play the
game. Ooh. All right. Game of the week was the.
We talked about this game already.
That's true. So, I mean, what else have we missed? I mean, Kansas City 21, Buffalo 30.
You ready? I'm going to give you here's the takeaway. This is all I'm going to say as a result of this game. The number 2. The Bills' magic number to clinch the division is 2. They are a Miami loss, and Bills win away from clinching the division. The Bills are going to clinch the AFC East potentially by week 13.
That's insane.
By November, the Bills might win the division. I'll tell you, they play Sunday Night Football at home against the Niners. And the Niners, I think, might have a back-to-back road spot. Do they? The Niners have a back-to-back road spot going to Buffalo Sunday Night Football. That Bills off a bot. That could be an early best bet on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football to clinch the division week 13.
So I have an interesting bet here because we're at the point where I'm looking at my futures tickets, looking like it's time to hedge. Like, for example, I have the Tennessee Titans over 6.5 wins. That's not looking so good. So I may have to start betting the other side and betting them to lose. Oh, God. I bet Steelers under 8.5 wins. What was I thinking?
Yeah, me too. Me too. That bet's dead already. That bet is done.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it. There was one specific. Oh, it was the Dolphins for the division winner and the regular season wins. I have 2 tickets. God, there's just no hope in hedging that, is there?
The division's over and all but name. And honestly, by the time if the Dolphins really, let me see, the Dolphins on a bye.
No, they host New England.
So they host New England, and then they play the Packers
Thursday night fucking football.
If the Dolphins lose 2 games, the Bills could literally have the division clinched on Thanksgiving Day. The Bills could literally win the AFC East on Thanksgiving if the Dolphins lose 2 games.
Which means I am now going to have to play the New England Patriots plus 7.5 to try to middle.
Good luck with that, buddy. Good luck.
Although, what's their win total? Because I have their win total at 9.5 too. So, how many games?
They could only lose.
They have 7. They have 7 games left. They're 4-6, so they
could really only lose 1 more.
Correct. So,
no.
All right, New England plus 7.5. It is next week. My takeaway again, real quick. Josh Allen is your MVP. There's no one else. That man single-handedly won you that game against the Chiefs. Which, remember in the past, like, I think last regular season game, he had the late touchdown. Really, they drove the clock down to the last minute, but they needed the touchdown. He got it. What happened in the playoff game? Well, they drove the ball down. They put the ball in their kicker's hand, and then he shanked it. I think the key takeaway is Josh Allen is your one true hope. And he's your MVP after that performance. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, just real quick. Really fun game in Detroit against the Lions coming up, too, in December.
That could be exciting.
Detroit's going to win that 40. That might be the one game I bet against the Bills. But anyway, we're done with that. Let's get to Sunday night.
Sunday night football. The Chargers gave up a 14-point lead, I want to say it was. If not, it was definitely more. Final score, 34-27. J.K. Dobbins with the very late touchdown in the final seconds to take the lead and the game for the L.A. Chargers. The Bengals are officially back on auto fade. They are now 4-7. Burrow with his 3 touchdowns, 356 yards, still wasn't enough to stop the Chargers. T. Higgins, 9 catches, 148 yards on the tutty.
21-point lead they blew, by the way, the Chargers.
God. Okay, so what? They almost chargered. They almost remembered who they were. That's my real takeaway with the Chargers, at least. This would be a handicap I would have made last year, 9 times out of 10. I'm pissed I missed the opportunity. Chargers first half, and then live bet the Bengals second half spread total, because they would have been plus. And the Bengals would have covered that easily. I'm kicking myself for that. Because this was a game we were so uncertain of. I kind of just said, look, Chargers are the home team. It's Sunday Night Football. They're also the favorites. I'm just leaning on that trend. But I also just think that, like, if you look at the defenses, the Chargers are better. The Bengals have shit. Both offenses are kind of comparable, but maybe edge to the Bengals. And I was like, well, defense wins games. They win championships. So I'm like, let's just go. Wasn't 100% confident. Literally, I was broke even. I had broken dead even until this Sunday Night Football game. Came out with a unit. So I'll take the win, but I don't know if it's Chargers regression. I don't know what's up with the Bengals. This just seemed like the soul crusher. especially with that press conference with Joe Burrow. It just did. It seemed like they're done. They are ready to hang it up. Their hopes are crushed. That just
I
seemed
don't
like
be
so
careful
heartbreaking.
because sometimes after the Soul Crusher game, there's that dead cat bounce. I don't know. I don't think are the Bengals. Are they another team on the bye? I think the Bengals.
They are.
I would look. I might look for them to have a good performance after the bye, because sometimes I feel like those Soul Crusher games, there's a little bit of a bad. The Bengals just aren't a good team. There's been something missing with them all year. They find ways.
Yeah, it's called a running back.
Either their defense plays well and their offense sucks, or their offense plays well and their defense sucks. I don't know. They're just not a good team. They've been overrated all year. I'm sick of hearing about Joe Burrow. He puts up great stats in losing efforts. Like, where was that when you weren't down 21 points? He's reminding me of like AFC Dak Prescott, who does just well enough, a ton of stats, and loses. Like, Joe Burrow's just losing. He's a loser. The Bengals aren't that good. They're out of the playoffs. They're done.
It's like correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a minute. He's doing like his best Carson Palmer impression, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a pretty good comp. Maybe a little better version. But yeah, a lot of numbers, a lot of stats, not a lot of wins, a lot of garbage. It just feels like he gets a lot of garbage shit. Like, a lot of come from behind.
He's your passing yards leader. He's your touchdowns leader. Has 4 wins to his name.
I don't think he should be the QBR leader. That I need to take a look at. He had some stinkers. The Cleveland game, the Eagle game. Not
the
crazy.
Giants game too, I think.
Oh, don't remind me. The Giants game, that was shit.
Yeah, that was
know, man.
horrendous.
He's not all there. Chargers, real quick, coaching. They got a coach.
Yep.
Now. The difference. That's a game previously, Chargers blow. Instead, they got a coach. They were disciplined. They even talked about it. We got a coach with discipline, new team. Chargers are a good team, man. They're sneaky.
They might
top tier of the AFC, but they're going to be a tough out. They're well coached.
They are like the lock for the 5th wild card with Pittsburgh. Like between Pittsburgh and maybe Baltimore, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like with the records where they stand right now, I think Chargers are 8-3, 7-3. They're like all but locked in the 5th.
That's your future shit game of the first round. Chargers, Texans in Houston.
That could be funny. And the Chargers will lose it too. All right, last game. It was Monday Night Football, the battle for Texas. Houston is a non-conference road favorite. Took care of business. Fucked up the Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowboys because Dak is on injured reserve for the year. 34-10 was the final. Joe Mixon, career game, 20 carries, 109 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. CJ Stroud, yet again, threw another fucking interception. Stroud is having a sophomore slump like a motherfucker. That team now officially runs behind Joe Mixon. I think if the Texans can get behind that and adjust, they'll be a real threat. Till then, I still can't take them seriously.
Yeah, I mean, this game's a throwaway. You knew Houston's defense was going to kill Dallas. They're playing out the string. The sharps who are on Dallas are idiots. Like,
hey now.
Houston beats shit teams. Dallas is a shit team.
I was on Dallas. Thank God I didn't bet it. I even said as much. I was like, I picked Dallas on the spread, but I was like, I think it's a spot play and nothing more. But I'm not going to bet it because like I'm not an idiot. Like I don't want to lose money on that.
Mondays should have won the ATS. Yeah.
Although I will say I liked what I saw at a Cooper Rush. I know he got sacked a bunch. I know he had the double fumble in the one play. 32 for 55, 354 yards and a tutty. I mean, if you can get that kind of performance out of your backup, I mean, I think he's one of the better backups. I don't think he's a starter per se. But I think you kind of have to start thinking about Dallas. Once they win or cover a game, you could take them seriously again. But they have not done as much in 4 weeks now. So They remain on auto fade. They're a no bet team until further notice. Even if you think they're the side, you do not bet money on them. That's the big bucks rule for auto fades. So really nothing to take away from Dallas. They haven't done anything to deviate.
Yeah. Yeah, Dallas looks like a team that is coming out at the seams, quitting. And those quit teams when they're bad, and especially too, they're playing an angry Washington team, and then on Thanksgiving they're playing a Giants team with a backup.
It's Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush Thanksgiving.
Well, time to spend time with your family.
Yeah, I think so. All right, that's it for week 11. We are now on to week 12, where we are going to go over the Thursday Night Football game to end the episode. But before we do that, let's give out the final metrics. Money Mansmann for the week. Big Bucks Beta. How did I do? I went 8-6 ATS, 11-3 straight up, 8-6 on the over-unders. So I'm at an 84-78-4 on the ATS. I'm 109-57 on the money line this year. Personal best, and 90-76 over-unders. In terms of my...
I always stop counting after a while, which is stupid. I always tell myself every year I'm going to be better at that, and I never am.
That's all good. And then in terms of my betting tickets, like I said, 1 unit profit, 29 units in, 30 units back, so only 1 unit profit. Broke even, so no Goldschlager for me this week. In terms of my best bets, I went 3-2. My dog of the week and over and under of the week totals have hit. My fade of the week and my best bet were big and a miss.
Yikes.
Any final metrics, Mansmann, or are we good?
Yeah, I will give. I'll give some final metrics for me for the week at least. 9-5 on the money line. So pretty decent money line week. ATS not so good. I was 7-7 overall. Betting wise though, made some good bets. Another 3 unit profit. I've pretty much been profiting about 2 to 3 units each week. So literally the last 4 weeks, I'm up about like 12 units. It's been crazy. I've just been stacking the profits each week. The Mike Tyson fight also helped, so I actually profited a little more in total. I made money on Jake Paul by decision, so
there you go.
So yeah, man, 4 straight weeks in the money. Can't complain. I'll take it. Let's get Thursday night out of the way quick because I don't have much on this game.
Yeah, let's do this. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming off the big win against Baltimore at home. They now travel up the highway down to Cleveland. Plus 154 for the Brownies, minus 184 for the Steelers. The Steelers are currently a 3.5 point road favorite, divisional road favorite. Over-under is 36.5. Before we go into it any further, I'm going to give you the Thursday night weather forecast, where it is anticipated to be 95% precipitation with, it looks like, 18 to 20 mile an hour winds, which explains the low total here, not for the other reasons. I know you don't have much, so I guess I can go first if you want, or because I got a little bit.
Oh, did I go first last week? I don't remember.
Who was last week? Washington and Philly.
I think I went first on that one, so it might actually be your turn.
All right, sure. So look, for Pittsburgh, here's the argument for Pittsburgh. They're 4-1 ATS on the road. They've been very good in this spot. Here's the spot for Cleveland. They're 8-3 ATS or home teams on Thursday Night Football are 8-3 ATS. You look at the flow charts, it says to take Cleveland in this spot. They've won 4 out of the last 5 at home straight up against the Steelers. They're 4-1-1 at home since 2018. That includes DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. That includes a Tyrod Taylor at quarterback in 2018 and Jacoby Brissett in 2022. So now let's plug in Jameis Winston, who's lost 2 in a row to the Chargers, who are a tough team, and the New Orleans Saints in a non-conference spot off the bye. And I think you can make the case during the bye week he lost that one too, so maybe 0-3. I don't know. If I'm backing Pittsburgh after last week's performance from Russell Wilson, they only beat the Ravens because of Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals. He makes those, I think you have a different conversation about this Steelers team. Because they also got 0 touchdowns on the board. And Pittsburgh's defense had to stop Lamar Jackson on a 2-point conversion to win that game and not take it to overtime. And honestly, I think that's your handicap here if you want to take the Browns. It's really that you're just fading Pittsburgh here in this spot. Personally, I look at the numbers for this year with recency bias and I can't get to it. Cleveland just might be that bad right now where I'm questioning the trend and I'm questioning the spot. Especially when the Browns defense, they're allowing 24.8 points per game on average. That was a 3-point swing from the last 3 seasons where that number ranged from 21.3 to 22.4 a game. But honestly, when you're fading a trend, you have to ask, well, what's the other side? And you have to ask, well, what's changed? What in the recency bias has made you want to deviate from this? For me, it's a twofold answer. It's Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. Lord Wilson has lost 3 straight on Thursday Night Football, but that was with Denver and Seattle. He is 9-4 straight up in his career on Thursday Night Football, so he's very used to it as the veteran. He is not Kenny Pickett, the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger, or Mason Rudolph. Arthur Smith is the OC, who isn't Matt Canada, I think is the biggest and more important factor in this spot. They're averaging just a lot more points as a Steelers team. 23 points per game on average compared to when Matt Canada was there. 20 in 2021, 18 in 2022, 17.9 in 20. To me, in this spot, you're used to Pittsburgh not showing up like they did last week against the Ravens, and they just no-show and score. The Ravens defense knows Mike Tomlin. Kevin Stefanski, especially on defense, just looks like a shell of himself. I just see so much regression. I just see an offense in Pittsburgh that is overdue for a good explosive match. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this spot, -3.5. I think this could be a big Najee Harris game. I don't know how well Russ does per se, but he is 27 points per game on average when he is the starter. I just think it's a key difference when you just look at those kind of numbers. Now, with the wind and the precipitation, it could get ugly. I originally had this as an over game. I'm starting to rethink that as an under 36.5, but not a high number. And I don't know. I have questions about Cleveland's defense, especially late in the game like we saw with the Saints. I don't know what Mike Tomlin will draw up, but I'm just going to have faith in him. So give me the Steelers.
Oh boy. Okay. I've been terrible on Thursdays. I have a feeling that this is the pick that gets me out of it. Going with the Steelers. The weather game factor really swayed me. Couple numbers on our good friends at Team Rankings that I think make note of. Pittsburgh, 8th in rush yards per game. Cleveland, 24th in rush yards given up per game, 4.8 yards per rush given up. That's 27th in the league. You look at the alternative. Cleveland, 29th in rush yards a game. Pittsburgh's defense, 4th in rush yards allowed, 5th in opponent yards per rush. And the other key factor to think about, turnover margin. Pittsburgh, plus 1.1 turnovers a game. That's second in the league. Cleveland Brownies, 0.05, 23rd in the league.
Yeah, night and day teams.
So Cleveland's more likely to turn the ball over. They're less likely to be able to run. My big concern with this game is the spot. Steelers coming off a huge, hard-fought division win against the Ravens. now playing the lowly Browns in a rain game. It's not exactly the most confident play of the year, but I think the Steelers are clearly the better team. The numbers support them.
Yeah.
So even though it's a bad spot, I think you got to look Steelers or nothing. And I think
how about this?
This is a dead under game.
Well, how about this? Rushing touchdowns allowed per team. Cleveland, they are currently, was it stats per game? How about rankings? 26th, averaging 1.4 rushing touchdowns a game. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, averages under a point. They're averaging 0.08. That puts them at, where is the number? 14th. Really, that rushing yards, we could do the same thing. If you haven't already. Rushing yards. Cleveland is 14th, it looks like. Or am I not? Yeah, rankings. Here we go. Rushing yards. Yeah, Cleveland is 20th. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, 4th. So just on the ground, looks like Cleveland's defense is going to give it up more on the ground. Pittsburgh barely does it at all, if ever. Passing game probably will be ineffective between the two quarterbacks. So, yeah, I could see this being under, or that it's going to be deadbolt close. This is one where maybe I bet the over and just see how the first half goes, and then I maybe look to hedge in the second half.
Yeah, that's bold. Especially because the way the Steelers are going to play. I feel like the Steelers will be perfectly fine playing a conservative game. So I think it's dead under. I think Steelers is the play.
There you go. All right, I got nothing left. This is our closing remarks. We had a pretty decent episode, hour 20 mark. Mansmann, any final thoughts, comments, concerns?
No, we made it through Hell Week. This is definitely a bit of a break week, a lot less games. The livers can recover. Everybody could get ready for Thanksgiving. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Should be fun. Looking forward to a couple of the games. Not because they're good, just quirky. But yeah.
This is
good episode.
I think last week was hate week. I think next week we got a Pros Joe's 2 or Pros Joe's 3 because a lot of the lines, a lot of the public money. Boy, oh boy, we're going to have some conversations next week. Not as many games, but I think we're going to have to really deep dive into what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So I got nothing left. No final comments for me. We do have some interesting trend stuff to go over, but we'll do that Friday. I got nothing left, so enjoy your Thursday night football. DeGents, make sure you win that motherfucking money. Remember that winners get to eat. Check us out on x.com/DeGents podcast. Check us out on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. I'm Big Bucks Beta.
Money Management. See you next time.
Have a good night, DeGents.